Greetings. This is me, Zahra Jawad, just testing my voice sound. Hope it's coming. I uh, I had some health problems in year 2000, and still negativity. Wondering if someone would be. I don't think anyone can reach out and help because no one has been reaching out. So um, I'm not able to do the normal things in life. As I put on videos about my mental and physical health. They're pushing me to go on. You see, like that, I feel connected with certain people, and I'm so. Um, Actually, also, I was quiet in my earlier years in O levels. If some Sunni Muslim came and told me something against my religion, I would not argue back. I would not say anything back. I would quietly just move away. This is the way I was. Um, uh, but a certain friend I had to uh, tolerate and I listened to her about against Shia Islam. That why do indirectly she was telling me. Uh, so it was quite clear that she was against Shia Islam very much. And when I told her mother about Shahbaz Calendar, she was like, no, 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 and all this, right? Um, they were outside. They had come to pick her up from my house, their daughter. So the mother and father were outside. I remember distinctly. Since some Sunni person, my mother's friend, Kandi auntie Rana, Suhail Rana's wife, had told my mother because I was for bedwetting. Uh, so they had told my mother to do this Kalandar Minnat wish prayer to Kalandar, Shahbaz Kalandar. So I guess there are some Sunni Muslims who believe in Shahbaz Kalandar, praying to the saints and intercession of the saints. But later on, I found this Sunni Muslim who was very strict about, against Shia Islam too. And then I used to pay attention to the Quran ayats in O levels when I was in O levels. And I had started to say, oh my God, it does say, do not call on any other than Allah, do not associate anyone with Allah. And the Quran is so sometimes indirect, it doesn't, only one Sahaba's name is mentioned. So it doesn't even mention the wife's name, Umm al-Mumineen, who annoyed Prophet Muhammad. Khair, for the life of me, I don't know why the Sunni Muslims still defend al-Mumineen when there's Surah Tahrim against them. Otherwise, they would come and, it's their duty. So recently I found out there's Sharia, and I'm in a Sunni Muslim country. This is my country. I mean, I'm Emirati, but brought up. So I sound like a Pakistani because I was brought up like a Pakistani, unfortunately. But I love Koja Sindhis, my mother's side. My mother's mother was Irani from Shiraz, but they had long ago come to Pakistan. So now they were Pakistanis, but original Shirazi from Iran. Then I was brought up like a Pakistani, my father being an Emirati, but again, they like to hide this. So this could be censored. That's why many people don't want me to come live stream. Okay, no, there are some Luatis. They used, my father's family used Pakistan because, Pakistan was very flourishing at that time when there was no oil. So they took up IDs, Pakistani IDs, and all this. And they were Hyderabadi, but they don't like to call themselves Hyderabadis. Some of them, my father's family, especially like at the airport, don't talk in Khoja Muscati, or Khoja Sindhi with me, and all this, or Urdu even. So they don't like to be exposed like this. And we've been living a lie, hiding. Uh, all our life suffering. My mother and I in this family. And now it's come to this that I've gone mad. My father told me that in London about against my mother that the doctor said if her mind has not grown and divorce her. So my mother had told my her grand aunt who came from United States to London once that she said uh, we don't get along, my husband and I. So her aunt, my grand aunt, told her to divorce. She said divorce him. So my mother said that I'm very attached, like me. She pointed at me. She took my name. She said she is very attached to her father. That's why. So my mother sacrificed, didn't divorce him and get married to a better, because she didn't. They weren't getting along, whatever the difference is. And we've been tortured in this family. So uh, they're quite nice, five times prayers and fasting and everything. They don't trouble anyone. My grandmother never troubled anyone. They don't come like here live and say things against people. So we have become badnamed. So you can check these Luwatis. They say they were, it's very confusing about them. Luwatis, what are they? Where they originally come from. Uh, Luwati, Luwati. They're mostly concentrated in Oman, Muscat. Some of them are here. Not, please don't judge all of them. We've had some great Luwatis, a family who loved and respected my mother so much. The Hamad Jawad Darwish family, I remember, very good family. So, uh, thing is that okay, so that's why my accent like this. And oh, another reason why, so since childhood I've never learned Arabic, to speak in Arabic, because my father speaks in, he won't like this, uh, but he speaks in Khoja Muscati, we call it Khoja Muscati. Okay, so this was my background. And then when Maulana Sahab came to teach me Arabic, Quran Arabic, and he would sit there in the dining room and even taught me how to do the ruku that Bibi Fatima Zahra does. Uh, Somehow he knew that how to bend down, and ruku is like when you put your hands on the knees and you go down in the namaz, salat. So then he was teaching me about the consonants, doubling of the consonants and the marks above the letters and all. So when we came to Allah, the written Arabic word Allah, I told him that Maulana Sahab, you told me that if you double it in written, like the lam or any letter, I don't know about vowels, but I remember about consonants. So if you write this word, when a letter. Sorry, I keep saying word sometimes. I have to correct myself. I make many mistakes. Um, so because of my health and all this, sorry, I'm not. Yes, I have to use my health because this is a fact. What has happened to me? So he said that. So I said, why is there mark, the W kind mark, up when the letter in written Arabic Allah is the letter L is written with a double L, right? So he said, you are right. No, he just said, ah, yes. He said to me, he told me that if he finds an answer for this, he will come back. If he doesn't find an answer for this, he won't come back. And so he never came back because we are told later on. In retrospect, I thought that this Quran is precise and perfect. So very honorable man. He didn't push it like. Anyhow, later on, much later in year 2000, when it's been 10 years I've come since my mother's death to Dubai. Uh, so I still have that Pakistani uh, open-minded, like the way my mother taught me, sh- uh, sharing good things, not the bad things. But sometimes we can't take it anymore, and the madness is there. However, if sharing this would hurt someone, then like about the religion, and it's against the country's laws, then I would not be sharing this. And so, however, okay, so this happened that, okay, the Quran things, Maulana Sahib, that's why I didn't learn the Quran in Arabic. So I had to do with the English translation, and then reading the English translations, O levels. Maybe, yeah, yes, I remember I was in O levels. Uh, I paid attention to, like, what's this? So I didn't know the Shia majlises and all I knew, uh, but I didn't know how they take the Quran. It's the same Quran, it's just how they interpret, and take the ayats. So many Shias are blamed for by the Muslims that they have a different Quran. Okay, so this, and they were killing Shias. So I thought of making a in Karachi, whether it was foreign, exploiting this, because the Sunnis were saying we're not the ones doing this. God knows how the Pakistani Taliban had come from General Ziaul Haq time and all this. Many groups were there. Tehreek-e-Islam, they split, and Maulanas were now ruling. The Sharia was on the top, and we heard that United States of America had put Ziaul Haq there. Like in Iran, Khomeini was put by the CIA. I read later on. Somehow like this, like what do you call that on the side. So the foreign powers were there to exploit this. But at the same time, my personal thing was that my condolences to Muslims wherever you are. You feel you are being attacked, by these Christians also on YouTube, very disrespectful at times. Against Rasulullah and our feelings. I understand your feelings. we shouldn't be doing this. I condemn it, but I don't go, like, let's say if someone puts a hole in the Quran, right? Uh, I don't go there condemning it. Like, just self defense, yes, we were told. So in Islam, we were told that Imam Hussein gave his all 6 months old in the battlefield Karbala, but not like giving like suicide of the 6 months old. But he went there appealing to their hearts, Yazid's army, to give some water to the 6 months old. And they gave him a spear, an arrow on his neck, the 6 months old. And then he made Allah witness and all this. So, anyhow, where am I? I would lose my thing. Point here is that when all avenues, now I remember, when all avenues of peace have been closed, then I mean, this I don't know the Sharia, which strict Sharia that's practiced mandatory job in Iran, and a lot is being exploited and all this. Anyways, Irani, a leader, mad leader he was, some crazy leader who thought he was Imam Mahdi or something. I read, and a long time ago he had persecuted and massacred. Either leave or I kill you, or you convert to Shia, Sunnis. Excuse me. That's where my principal, Mrs. Munira Gulzar, was from. Bastaki. She was from Linga, the south of Iran, I think. Um, so was my Sayyid, who, the eldest person gets entrusted to the Sayyid. So she was here. And she was also from Linga, Bibi Habab. Okay, so she was my grandmother's, my father's mother's friend. And so we were told when all avenues of peace have been closed. Sorry, I'm in a very restless state. I haven't had any breakfast. I might not be able to get up properly to prepare my breakfast. And just have a very bad habit, destructive, self destructive things going on since ages, and madness. And last night I was feeling that I shouldn't have done this, just to maybe save the Shias if they can see. But we don't have that freedom. Only if I think we were told not to follow things blindly also in Shia Islam, and we could do research. But then, to my dismay and shock, on Wikipedia, I don't know how far that is true, that the Jafri sect, this 12 Shia, they kill them. There's a death penalty and apostasy, and you can, like, for example, I said something to my father that I was reading a hadith where Imam Ali, actually, I don't know how far that is true, but that someone insulted Prophet Muhammad, and Imam Ali took up a sword and killed him. So my father said, that's very good. I was like, so I'm different. I'm a different Shia than my father. We don't agree to same things. Maybe now I could go into like the Sheikhi school I read in Karachi. So when I was in Karachi, I was doing Sunni Shia research, studied uh, as much as I could. So thank God there were books like Then I Was Guided by Tejani, and all his books, most of his books I bought. Some of them first, Sayyid Yusuf had sent me on online. Then I even bought that book. Then I Was Guided, Tejani's books, because we have the bookshop, Shia bookshop. So went to the Najaf Imam Barga in Soldier Bazaar, uh, you know, Imam Ali, and bought books there, and Kharadar, and all these shops we had where we could get Shia books and Shia Quran by Akka Mehdi Puya. translation and all. I remember. So, some research I did online, and some Shia books, the Sunni books I read online. The Shia books I bought, and I also bought Muhammad Hakel's Life on Prophet Muhammad book. That's not from a Shia. Martin Ling's earliest, from the earliest sources, Life of Prophet Muhammad. So I read that, and Muhammad Hakel, Life on Prophet Muhammad, I would refer to. And there was another lady, I can't remember her name, Karen Armstrong, who had written about Prophet Muhammad. I think her book also I bought and I was reading. So all this happened, and I found Shia Islam to be true against Sunni Muslim. Sunni Islam, sorry. What am I saying? Sorry, excuse me, Sunni Muslims. So, because recently it's their duty, like it's the sheikhs, the leader of Muslim country, or it's their duty to harass. And if I don't do this, if I, you, no, no, if I do this, and if I don't pray and he finds out, they're going to harass me. And they can even say that you look like a monkey and you will become an ape. You know, like insult people and abuse people. So it's the Sunni Muslims' duty, according to the Sharia, to harm us, intimidate us, abuse us, call me Randi, prostitute. So they'll be sending such people to me, right? Uh, Whether Pakistanis or what, to call me names and say, Randi, prostitute, go and pray. नमाज नहीं पढ़ती हो, prostitute बन गई हो. Yani, even if I'm not a prostitute, but they can say these things. Well, Mawiya abused Imam Ali, so we were told that Imam Ali had stopped his people from abusing back Mawiya. So we never do this unless, they can insult us. We say, जो गालियाँ बकते हैं ये वो खुदा उनके गुनाह माफ़ करता है. My nani grandmother used to say this, maternal. So in this, I'm living in a Sunni Muslim country. It's my country. Uh, my, uh, so my great grandfather was also here, from here, Sharjah, and great grandmother, very good. My great grandmother. So anyhow, this personal stuff, and so why am I doing this? Um, you see, as a Shia Muslim, apart from the personal things, like what I was told in a Christian lady's house, that was the where that was when I started to like retreat from there. Just took a month. I think after that, no cards, nothing, no invitation to my birthday or Christmas. Waiting for Mr. Sa to come back. So I was praying. This is a personal thing. Like I was praying, Baby Sakina's tabut, Martyrdom Day night, vigils we used to do, Hazrat Abbas, asking Hazrat Abbas, I was a fish out of water. I couldn't accept it. My therapist later on said that you are in a shock. Like after 6 years of separation, she has finally told me that I'm still in a shock. So the reason why I couldn't accept the separation, not because I'm ziddi stubborn like another therapist, her head had told me that one time. something like this. So I was seeing things like what my Miss Tissa, what my teacher had taught me to tell the truth and all this. So when Hazrat Abbas is going first and Ali Akbar, so it was all mumble jumble for me. Sometimes I was like, why are they lying? And where does this come from? And I would just inside, I never told anyone, like just inside. Sometimes, I told my friend, another friend, that Bibi Mariam really helped me. She came to my aid. That's all I said. Uh, but never against. I would keep my doubts and questions to myself until it got too much one day in the new house somewhere in 2000, year 2000. I went down and told my father that, or we were in the car and I said, or no, no, somewhere in the car, I don't know what I told him, going to the Muharram Majlis. But I started to retreat, like मुझे घबराहट होने लगी. And also because, मुझे घबराहट होने लगी थी मजलिसों में. और मुझे and also thinking about it, uh, judging my Shia Islam practices, not the Mehndi or maybe like all this. What is all this? Not the Sunni. It's no, no. Like, why do we ask the martyrs? Imagine someone being raped, and you ask them, "Please pray for me that my daughter never gets raped." So this concept of us intercession, sometimes I feel we do hostahi, like we are not even worthy. So I started to think so much that I became very hard on the Shia Muslims. Then this whole thing I changed when in year 2000 when I became mad. No, 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 no. When I went to London for my law later on, I, I said, look, oh, just see this with love and open your mind and see this. But that's not the way it is in our Shia Islam either. Alama Mutahari has written that, all these rituals and no, no, the Mahram things, the, the spirit is lost, Imam Hussein's spirit. Okay, you do a little bit with the horse, Zuljana, sometimes allow. I would look at the Zuljana like a leaf falling from the plant, and I'd say, like inside, communicate with Zuljana, since I felt the animals, uh, you know, had this, like I saved a bird, a sparrow in my new house, and then he came and sat on my shoulder. We had just shifted to the new house. He couldn't see the glass door and he was crashing into it. At that time, I had become very extremely outrageously sensitive in my sixth year of separation with Mrs. So I was communicating with the Zuljana, are you okay? Like that, right? Looking into his eye, one eye because I was on the side, like that, and questioning. So, um, many, many things I've forgotten now. I cannot mention right now. So, as a Shia Muslim in in my O levels, 1989. No, no, before 1989. Sorry, I I did 1988 June. So before that, I was reading the Quran and I came across Surah Azab verse. Before Surah Azab, I came across Surah Nur verse. And I thought, why is Allah forgiving them? Like I thought Allah is forgiving even the rape, the prostitute, the ones compelling them to prostitution. Because my mind as a, now you see, I was also English, my British O level English. I could comprehend a little bit, though I was poor in comprehension English. Um, I could gather what's this like. because I didn't read the Quran according to the commentaries, Shia commentaries, and all this. I just read it raw. I started reading it raw in English. And now I found that in English translations, there are many, many, sometimes different, and it makes a world of a difference. So translations are also not that accurate. And so I started to judge my religion very harshly, the Shia religion. And resentments grew because, Miss Desai taught me, like, if someone lied to me, she would get upset. So I also would get upset, like fire coming up, you know. Someone lied to me, and I wished that I was like those Pakistanis who take it. You just take life. Like someone is lying to you, it's not a big deal. Um, but I was very, like, get very angry. Market mein, like, and then read that verse in the Quran that when you sell something, amanat mein khayanat nahi karo. Oh, the fire would just ignite in me and rise. When in the marketplace, I would see some thing going in Pakistan, Karachi markets. क्यों तुम लोग ऐसे करते हो? And get angry. So that's why I used to get very angry. That also had added to my anger. Childhood, another story, my personal life. Agitated, irritated, and all this. And being punished. Like, since childhood, I feel that I have been punished. And the person behind it is not punished because the person behind it does not trouble anyone, is does not is not the cause of the trouble. Set up so my mother had to take me, her child, 4-year-old, and then I heard that my grandmother, maternal grandmother, also had Bibi Fatma Zahra's hand given to her. Right, so her house breaking up, her daughter's going through a lot. Then I started to question that too, but that did not, like, in a way, it was creeping in on me, and I didn't know that I'm retreating. Like, on one hand, I had these doubts, on the other hand, uh, I still, that pull for Imam Hussein, my conditioning. Um, I would be happier in the Bara Imam Barga, my place, you see. So when I went to London and when I went to another Imam Barga, I felt kind of that, my place, this is not right. I've been conditioned. But for Imam Hussein, I sat there, but it wasn't that delight, that thing, of having sense of belonging. So we had a Imam Barga, my mother's whole community, and this area in Karadar, and we lived opposite Nishta Park. And I'm also Allama Rashid Tarabi's duas. My mother was not, after one infant daughter died, passed away. She was not conceiving. She was not having children. So my father had gone to Allama Rashid Turabi, the genius of Indo-Pak, Zakir Shia, and asked for the dua. Sorry, I've been bending and I have not put a mic because the mic doesn't have that effect. Sound goes low. So I have to bend a little. Um, I've moved the mobile a little bit. So Allah Marishi Turabi's dua, we lived opposite Nishta Park. We used to have sabils, give water, sharbat, all this. Milk sharbat would be the day to give it to the people coming there, azadars, Nishta Park. That was a special day, giving them milk sharbat. Uh, but however, then water and all that, and weren't people coming to our sabil, you know, because then another sabil they would give milk, sharbat. Anyways, this was going on, and then when I grew up, I realized Jesus Christ saying that the one who is in front seat will be at the back, and I started to retreat and so that's my personal thing that oh, people know me here in the Imam Barga, yeah, Nuzat's daughter and all this, and I was doing these self-help books, and so I did. My mother, Nuzat's daughter, they know me, and who I'm nothing, and no family thing. They shouldn't give me this importance. And I retreated, I used to sit in the front. दागे दें, ये करें, बीबी सकीना का. अच्छा ये लो, ये, धक्का नहीं दो. Don't push. Give us threads. We used to give threads and be in charge there for the Bibi Sakina's tabut. And Ali Asghar's time, Batul Turabi used to come, right? तो मजमा था एक crowded, and I used to do matam. I was very passionate about that, passionately matam. But I'm a ladies majlis after the majlis. So I was also with my father, very tomboyish. Played the sorry, I would do the damam, participate in the damam, which to my grandfather, maternal, and his brother-in-law had introduced in Karadar for Maharam, Damam Kamatam. So I was with my father in my childhood, and then I would I would participate in the Damam Kamatam. So I was very passionate also. Um, so then I grew up, and then I had to be with the ladies. That was a little tough, uh, but I had a friend, and so it was okay then. Uh, so from here, um, this is the personal thing. I was also very contemplative. Uh, like even now, when I read an ayat, when I share it, I think I'm running out of time. Like anytime I could die or something, I need to help. I'm compelled also to help people, help my Shias to see this. But on Wikipedia, I read in year 2000, 10 years ago when I came here to Dubai, I read that later on, I read that, oh my God, that there's a death penalty for apostasy in Shia, Jafri sector, right? And blasphemy, I don't know if you say anything against, you can say anything against Imam Ali, the Imams, but you can't say anything against Rasulullah. That's what my father told me. I don't know how far that is true in the Shia. No, yes, that must be true. So when I told my father about Surah Ahzab, I was having problems. 37, verse 37. He told me, you don't know, this is the wisdom of Allah and Rasulullah. We cannot say anything. So, anyways, another thing comes up is that my brothers, my family, I'm the eldest, so they cannot trouble me. But I don't know. My mother was very lenient. If I told her, I believe in reincarnation, I'm getting signs, she would never uh, uh, snub me or, oh, no, Sarah, like that. She was a very understanding heart lady in her normal state when she was. So not when she wasn't in her normal state, like bouts of emotional, because of her in-laws' life. She got married when she was 13, right? In this family. Mm, Terrible, unfortunately. My father was very practical, and so this, and he loved his family, loves his family a lot. So things on us. Anyways, that's my personal life that I will do again some day later. So I was back to the Shia Islam. I was very contemplative, kept things inside of me. But once I asked my father about Surah Azab in year 2000 now, I think it was, about verse 37. And then he was also afraid that, I'm going to church for Mr. Saw. I started to go there to see which God she's praying to, that, mashallah, she was very sabir, very patient. I used to go and, what I did there, trespassing, and why God is not giving me that patience and God's not hearing me. So I went to church, and then her church, and I started to go there every time. Christmas, New Year, Easter, even now, and I had made friends there. Family, they became my family friends. They used to come down when I would go to Mr. Sa's house for reconciliation and all this. Open the door, Mr. Sa, and we were friends, and I loved you, and it was very ugly, very sad. So that's how I used to go to church. And then, I found my father that he would come from Allama Talib Johari's majlis, reciting ziyarat there. He used to go to Nishta Park now that we had shifted from Soldier Bazaar opposite Nishta Park. And also, Allama Rashid Turabi used to come to our house for the break after the majlis, before the majlis going to Nishta Park. He used to stay in our house. I remember. And he put his hand on me and said, Ye to meri beti hai, this is my daughter. Anyhow, with Allama Talib Johari, although my father, he's kind of dodgy. Uh, my mother, very lenient, but he can do certain things and say certain things. Very like sly person. I thought he had given us freedom, but no, he had not. He's a very sly person. अच्छा, तो you can taqiya istemal karna. So he knows every child. He says he knows his every child. So how to deal with them? If you shove the thing into my throat, I'll burst. I cannot take a forceful thing on me, like, even though in the Quran it says clear evidence has come. Why do you not believe in it? Surah Bahina, clear evidence. Don't shove it in me, and I feel suffocated because my mother was very lenient and true person, honest person, but my father, I didn't realize that he was a very sly person, uh, cunning, like my mother said, diplomatic, had said about him. uh, so he would come. He knew that now I was getting into Bibi Mariam's intersection a lot. He would come and say, today Talib Johari said this, and even the praise on Rasulullah or Ahl Bayt, and Bibi Mariam's, comparing something like this, he would start. I remember, but I don't remember the exact thing he used to say to me. Mm. And so this, and now the azan has gone on, it's starting, so I'll take a break and come back later. Thank you very much.